She screamed so loud that even the dogs down the street started barking. "You psycho! You set me up!" she yelled, clutching her hand like I'd shot her. But all I did was what any man would do after weeks of stolen mail. I put a mousetrap inside my own mailbox. Let's rewind a bit. For the past month, my mail had been disappearing, bills, packages, even letters from my daughter in college. Gone. The mailman swore he delivered everything, but somehow it kept vanishing. When I asked around the neighborhood, most people shrugged. Probably porch pirates, they said, but I knew better. Every time something went missing, I'd see her, Karen, the HOA president, standing across the street with her little clipboard like she was running the country. She had that smug smile that made you want to move away. Once I caught her walking past my mailbox pretending to check property lines. Another time, she told me my rusty mailbox violated HOA standards. The same day a package disappeared. That's when I decided to test it. I left a fake envelope with a $10 Walmart gift card inside, easy to see through the flap. Within an hour it was gone. I didn't even need proof. I already knew who took it, so I got creative. I bought a small mousetrap. Nothing dangerous, just enough to make a point. I wrapped it neatly inside some junk mail and slipped it into the box. The next morning, as I sipped my coffee from the porch, I watched Karen stroll by. She looked around like she always did, then reached into my mailbox. Snap. She screamed like she'd been electrocuted, waving her hand and shouting every word she could think of. I couldn't help it. I laughed out loud. She spun toward me, furious. "You'll regret this. I'll have you fined and kicked out of this neighborhood." I stood up slowly, still holding my coffee. "Karen," I said calmly, "that's a federal mailbox. Maybe you should have thought about that before sticking your hand in it." Her face went pale. She looked like she wanted to argue, but couldn't find the words. Clutching her hand, she stormed off down the street, muttering about calling the board. But I knew this wasn't over. That evening, a white SUV with community safety decals pulled up outside my house. Two men in matching polo shirts stepped out and walked straight to my door. Karen was right behind them, arms crossed and grinning like she'd just called the FBI. They knocked hard, 3 sharp thuds that shook the door. I looked through the peephole and saw them. 2 bulky guys wearing dark blue polos labeled Neighborhood Compliance Unit. One held a clipboard. The other had a shiny badge on his belt, except it looked like a keychain toy. I opened the door halfway. "Can I help you?" I asked. The taller one spoke first. "Sir, we've received a report of assault and illegal trapping on HOA property," he said, reading from the clipboard. "HOA property?" I repeated. "That's my mailbox. On my land." Karen stepped forward. "You injured me with that device. You can't put dangerous traps in community spaces. These men are authorized by the HOA to remove you if necessary." I looked at the 2 officers. The badge on the taller one's belt had the word security spelled wrong. Security. That told me everything. "Authorized by who?" I asked. "Because last I checked, the HOA doesn't outrank federal law." Karen smirked. "We'll see what the sheriff says when he finds out you attacked a board member." "Good idea," I said, pulling out my phone. "Let's call him right now." Her smile faded fast. "You know," I added while dialing, "tampering with mail is a federal crime. Title 18, Section 1708. Want me to read it to you?" The fake officers exchanged nervous glances. Karen whispered, "Just scare him. Don't back down." I hit record on my phone's camera. "Go ahead," I said. "Say that again, for the record." Her eyes went wide. "You can't film me." "Sure I can," I said. "Public property, right?" She froze. One of the fake cops started backing toward the SUV. "We should probably go," he muttered. "No." Karen hissed. "Stay, he's bluffing." That's when I dropped the real bombshell. "Karen," I said slowly, "I'm not bluffing. I work in federal mail security. You stole from the wrong guy." Her jaw dropped. The fake officers looked at her like she'd just dragged them into a war zone. You can't prove anything," she stammered. "Oh, I can," I said, turning the camera toward the mailbox. "There's a hidden camera inside. Every time you took something, it recorded your face." The taller fake cop didn't wait another second. He jumped into the SUV. The other followed. Karen stood there trembling, speechless. "Get off my property," I said quietly. She turned and marched away, muttering, "This isn't over." And I believed her, because the next morning I heard sirens. 2 county sheriff cars pulled up in front of my house, lights flashing red and blue. My heart sank, not from guilt, but because I knew exactly who called them. I stepped onto the porch with my coffee, calm as ever. Karen was already there, waving her arms dramatically. "That's him," she shouted. "He's dangerous. He attacked me." The deputies looked confused. One of them, a tall man with gray hair, asked, "Ma'am, you said he set a trap?" "Yes," she cried. "He put a weapon in a mailbox and you reached into his mailbox?" He interrupted. Karen blinked. "It's community property. I was checking for violations." I caught the faintest smirk on the deputy's face. He already knew she was lying. "Morning, officers," I said. "Would you like to see the footage before you arrest the wrong person?" Karen spun toward me. "Footage?" "Yeah," I said, pulling out my phone. "Security cam right above the mailbox. It caught everything. You reaching in multiple times and those 2 guys pretending to be officers." The second deputy frowned. "Pretending to be what now?" I played the video. There it was, Karen telling the fake cops to scare him, one flashing his misspelled badge. The deputies leaned in, watching. Karen tried to grab my phone, but one deputy stopped her. "Ma'am," the older one said slowly, "you do realize impersonating law enforcement and mail theft are federal crimes, right?" Her face went pale. They were just HOA volunteers." The younger deputy chuckled. "Well, they're about to be federal volunteers and in jail." Karen started trembling. "I didn't know. He trapped me. He's dangerous." I stepped closer. "You came onto my property, stole my mail, sent fake officers to my door, and now I'm the dangerous one?" The older deputy nodded at me. "Sir, thank you for your patience. We'll handle this." Then he turned to Karen. "Ma'am, you're coming with us for questioning," she gasped. "You can't do this." "I'm the HOA president." "Then the board's going to need a new one," he replied. The other deputy gently took her wrist. She screamed again, as dramatic as ever, but they still walked her to the car. "This is a mistake. You'll regret this," she shouted as the door slammed shut. I stood there quietly, watching. Across the street, my neighbor Hank, an old veteran, gave me a slow clap. "About time someone taught her a lesson," he said with a grin. I smiled. "Yeah, but something tells me this isn't over." And I was right. A week later, I got a real letter, this time from the HOA's lawyer, demanding I pay Karen for emotional distress. I actually laughed. She'd been arrested for mail theft and impersonation, and now she wanted money, so instead of replying, I went to the county office with all the evidence and the footage, the fake badges, and the phony notices she'd been posting on people's doors. Turns out, Karen had been running her own little empire, writing fake fines, pocketing funds, and intimidating neighbors for years. The county launched an investigation. Within days, every homeowner got a notice. The HOA board was dissolved, and Karen was facing multiple charges. She moved out a month later. No one even said goodbye. That morning, I opened my mailbox again, this time without fear. Inside was a note from the sheriff himself. "Thanks for standing your ground. People like you keep neighborhoods honest." I smiled, folded the letter, and placed it neatly inside the box. For once, my mailbox stayed quiet. As I looked across the street where Karen's house used to be, I said softly, "Funny how justice delivers itself." The end.